Welcome to the Ethical Affiliate, the podcast that's all about living life on your own terms through the exciting world of ethical affiliate marketing. I'm your host, Ida.
And I'm Tim.
And in each episode, we'll be exploring the possibilities, strategies, and mindset shifts that can empower you to build a business that aligns with your values and allows you to design the life you've always dreamed of.
Join us as we share our journey and hear from industry experts and successful affiliate marketers who have embraced this new approach to business. Discover the strategies they use to navigate the ever-evolving digital landscape, build sustainable income streams, and most importantly, live life on their own terms.
So buckle up and get ready for a journey into the world of ethical affiliate marketing. This is the Ethical Affiliate, where we believe that living life on your own terms is not just a dream, it's a reality waiting to be created. Thanks for joining us, and let's dive in. Woohoo! Hello.
Hello.
Tim, welcome everybody. Woohoo! Oh, I'm so glad to be here today.
I sound like a person from a very old gardening company, I think. Do you remember that in Australia?
What's that?
Oh, in Melbourne, actually. It was in Melbourne. Yeah, there's this company that ran, it's a landscape supplies and gardening supplies, and the guy used to come and go, hello, everyone. You know, he used to start. It was just like it was so basic, it was incredible, but it was funny. Very good, really good marketing, but it was cringy as well. But that's it was memorable. It was memorable. Anyway, kind of got off track there.
Hopefully our listeners will remember our cringy intro. Hi everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Tim and Ida, the ethical affiliates who are
welcome.
Yes, we are here to discuss the ins and outs of being an affiliate marketer and what that involves and what it means to be ethical. So let's start off with our week. How's your week been?
I was going to ask you that first.
Oh, well, you can go first. I got in, so
My week has been full of ups and downs to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great. It's been great because it's been great because it's always been great. And I've got to the point where I can just see the greatness in each day, despite there being temperature, horrible temperatures or horrible conditions and things like that. So I think I've learned to see the big picture is what I'm kind of trying to sum up. And it feels curious to talk about. This is like a drop in the ocean because I'm saying that we're right in the process of launching this podcast, even though we're in episode, whatever it is, 7, which I'll state quite clearly because I know it is episode 7.
Oh, good.
Why I'm saying that is because we're still uploading the podcasts and finishing off some recording. So it seems strange to say in episode 7, we're still launching the podcast, but it's well and truly there. So we've been spending a fair bit of time on that. I've been spending a fair bit of time on that and learning some new marketing ideas and how to make reels, which I'm really loving.
Beautiful.
And discovering some amazing artificial intelligence software, of which at this point in 2024, there's just a massive momentum, probably two redundant words there, of product and software coming through to help us run a business. And I was speaking to my person who brought me into the business this morning, and the challenges of not becoming like everyone else, because a lot of people are jumping on this and a lot of people are starting to sound the same because of the software. And so I'm striking a blow for humanity to really check in and make sure that you're writing from the heart, which as yet, and I'm not an expert, but I can't see that coming from artificial intelligence very soon, despite everything else being very soon. That to really speak from your truth, because you are actually only you, and it is combining a whole bunch of humanness into one sentence, and that's not just you. So I've been looking at things like that, and in general, getting through the week and looking forward to our podcast today, Ida.
Right. Beautiful.
What have you been doing?
Wow.
I didn't know, but tell the listeners.
I've had a really intense week. Really, really tough, challenging week, actually. I'll be really honest. But, as challenging as what it's been, I'm grateful for it because every time I push through these challenges, I get to the other side. Now, I make no secret in this podcast about the fact that I have to deal with depression and anxiety. It is my constant, it has been my constant companion. But what I'm learning now as a result of embarking on this business, which is really interesting, is how to really, I have a lot invested in what I'm doing, right? And I really feel like it is my way forward for me, what works for me. And as a result of that, feeling that way, my approach to my mental health is changing. And what I'm finding is, even though I'm still getting these downtime episodes, in that downtime and in those challenging moments, that's actually when I really go seeking for the help that I need. Because when I'm feeling good, I don't feel like I need the help. But when I'm feeling in these dark places, they're a reminder that they haven't gone away. So I need to actually take aligned action to get it fixed. So that's what I've been doing this week. And what that does for me is it actually draws me out of that, because I know that I'm helping. I know that I'm helping myself, and there's help on the way. So yeah, so challenging, unpleasant, but really good. And I've come out the other side feeling a lot stronger and a lot clearer about where I want to go, and seeing the value in that challenge, because I know that there are other people out there that go through similar things.
Yeah.
And I just want to be able to reach those people and say, you know what, it's okay. You can actually manage this. There are always ways forward. And this is what I say in every episode. I feel like I repeat myself, but that's in my week. Yeah. Yeah. In my week. Lots of
That's
change.
interesting. That's because the pain and pleasure principle, where people move away from pain or they move towards pleasure. It's obviously both. The challenge sometimes with pain is that you move yourself out of the pain and then you don't do any more because you start becoming comfortable, which is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So it's good. It's good you've created some awareness about that, about like, okay, I'm in this challenging situation. What can I learn from it? Or how can I avoid it happening again next time?
Yeah.
Because many people just get comfortable again until they go through a pain process. Not even what you're talking about necessarily. It could be a financial thing where they might be able to move out of that, and then it's okay for a while. And they haven't really created the learnings to keep them going and getting into where they're experiencing pleasure most of the time. Whatever you
Exactly.
want to
And
call
look,
that.
challenges are a part of life. So the sooner you learn to see the value in them, the sooner you can actually tackle those
Yeah.
challenges, and B, the sooner you can move through them. And, I saw something really interesting on YouTube. I came across this channel, and it's a British guy who talks about grief. And I found it so incredibly moving. And he was interviewing someone. We'll pop the link in the show notes because the
Yep.
name doesn't come to mind. But it was talking about, he was talking to a grief expert. And as he was talking to this grief expert was able to really hone in on a point that really hit home with the interviewer. And the interviewer became quite emotional. And I was so moved by it, and it made me realize the importance of allowing yourself to feel that grief, no matter how scary it is. And this grief expert pointed out that when the fear associated with grief is that when you get in there, you're scared it's never going to end.
Yeah.
But that's not actually true. And he started to talk about buffalo, right? And when buffalo see a storm coming,
Yeah.
they head towards it. And the reason they head
Yes, I've
towards
heard
it
that.
is because they want to get through it as quickly as possible. So what happens is, when we don't head towards that storm that's swirling around in our heart, we keep running from it. So we are always being chased by it. Right? Because we only stay just ahead of it. And that resonated with me so much. And I was bawling by the end of this 18-minute video. And it opened this thing up in me that really made me want to face my grief, face my challenges head on, so I could move on from them. And when you get through that storm, there's always going to be another storm waiting. But the sooner you head into it, and move through it, the sooner you can get on with your life and you feel stronger and more accomplished in it.
That's
So
amazing.
it was really, really valuable. Yeah.
That's amazing. And
Amazing
that's
stuff.
so true. I mean, it lessens the time you spent in the grief. And it
Yes.
actually reminds me of so many things. There's a sailing analogy, which I won't go into, but there's also well, when it's safe, and please note this is not advice, um, it's a good idea to step through a bushfire once it's settled down to get through it, rather than, when the ground's burning, rather than following the bushfire along and going with it. That's obvious when you think about it, but it requires a certain level of fear to be overcome before you can do that. Because the thing what you want to do is run from it, and that's what it keeps coming back to you to bite you. Not the
That's
bushfire, just
exactly
everything
right.
else. So
Yeah. And
that's fantastic.
you're constantly on the run from a storm. And I'm tired of running. I
Yeah.
really am. I feel like I've been chased by this my whole life. So I'm so grateful that I was able to move in a direction that requires me to deal with all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and it just fuels me. It actually fuels my purpose to want to help other people to
Yeah.
do the same. Yeah.
And there's a degree of truth to the, whatever your thoughts are on these things, to that, and I'm holding up my fingers in quotes here, the universe gives you things that it reckons it's ready for you to be challenged with, and
Absolutely.
to be able to deal with it, because in general, the universe will keep giving you those things until you are able to rise up and become a new you.
Well, that's right. If you don't change how you deal with something, you're perpetuating the same situation
Yeah.
to show up over and over again,
Yeah.
and you just end up running around in circles. So it's really important for people to catch that, and when they're in the middle of their grief, to stop and go, okay, now is the time for me to take aligned action and really get the help that I need. But
Awesome.
everyone's on their own journey, so
Awesome. So that's your week and my
it's my
week.
week.
And what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the importance of supporting your team as your business grows
Lovely.
and the ethics behind that. So it's not being an ethical affiliate isn't just about the product you associate yourself with. It's actually how you
True.
run your business, what your core value is, when you're moving forward, and how you support your team members and how you manage conversations too. Because as your team starts to grow, you're dealing with different personalities, and, especially unless you're on a Zoom all the time, when you're talking in Messenger,
Yeah.
often things get misunderstood. And unless you're in
Right.
a really clear headspace to be able to navigate through that and open up a discussion so that things can be resolved, it can end really, really badly.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so being a leader, of the people that sign in with you is really important. You've got to really know how to speak to people, how to communicate. And you can't do that if you haven't gone through the steps yourself, and if you haven't gone through that level of evolution. So, you know, it takes a lot of that inner work. They don't lie when they say it's 80% inner, 20% outer. That is not a lie. That's very much, in my opinion, it's actually 100% inner work, because unless you do the inner work, you can't actually help people do the outer work. So it's
True.
the inner work that inspires the outer work. So, yeah, it's an important aspect of it's a crucial aspect of running a business when you're living your life on purpose. And you have a responsibility to those that come in after you, to those that you work with, to really help them become their best self. That's how I feel about it. Not everyone feels that way about it. Some people are a little bit less personal, whereas I personally lead from the heart. I've always led from the heart, and it's about being really discerning and really aware and what's the word I'm looking for? Really honest about where you're coming from, and if you're coming from a good place where you genuinely want to help others, then, you're able to strike that balance. But it's work. It's work, but it's the best kind of work.
So when you've got, um, when you're dealing with a bunch of people, but a range of people, and some are really willing to dive in and learn the material they need to build their business, and some keep coming back to you and going, oh, where's this, where's that, how do I do this? And yet it's perhaps outlined for them. What's your approach? I know what my approach is, but what's your approach to dealing with those individuals? Because as you say, they're all different. Well, they're individuals, but everyone has such a different way of approaching a new subject.
Absolutely. Okay, so for me, because I've been one of those people that ask lots of questions, so what I would do, I would recognize that that person's actually struggling and having trouble, and it's beyond. It's actually not even about where the information is. It's the fact that they haven't looked for it that tells me, okay, something's going on here. And so I would approach that person. And if it was more than one people, I would actually call for a group meeting of the people that are struggling. And I'd narrow down what it is that they're struggling with, and I would help them with that, and I would guide them through that. And that to me is what a leader does. It's not about, well, I'm just going to throw you in the ocean and you can sink or swim. That's not leadership. To me, leadership is recognizing when your teammates are struggling and reaching out to them and going, okay, this is what I'm seeing. And this is what, these are your options. This is what's available to you, and taking it from there. And, look, if people need individual one-on-one help, I feel that it's my responsibility to help them, but not in a sense where I'm carrying them through that pain. It's helping them deal with their pain in their way, helping them find the solution for themselves, because not everybody knows how to do that, and it could be as simple as making a suggestion. It could be as simple as asking them a set of questions that might help them uncover what's really going on inside them. And it's doing it in a really supportive and loving way. And that can be really challenging, especially when that person actually needs to show up and be accountable for themselves. And guiding someone to self-accountability is very, very tricky, right? So you yourself as a leader have to be very discerning about where you're treading with someone and knowing when to back off. And that it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, if you are going to work with people, you need to do it in a way that is really in alignment with who you are as a leader. So the people that I lead and how I lead is very important to who I am, is very connected to who I am as a person. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fine line, or it's a razor line, whatever you want to describe it as, where it requires acute awareness to understanding where people are coming from.
Absolutely.
And people give away everything in their words and their actions, don't they?
There's a lot of leakage.
There's a lot of leakage, and it's very easy to overlook that sometimes, though. But to really listen to what people are saying, truly listen and see where they're coming from. And it actually goes back a little way to what you're talking about at the start. Perhaps this is something they need to dive into and tackle, because
Absolutely.
there's a good chance that they've done a program. There's a possibility they've done a program in the past where they've had the same challenges, and they've dropped it, and they've gone, I just don't understand. I can't find the answers, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like, well, okay, this is a repeating pattern, and let's see if we can help you through that. And the other thing, sometimes because of the nature of IT and technology, although it's getting better, sometimes people's learning styles just don't match sitting down and watching something on a computer.
Absolutely.
And we talk about multimedia and all that. In general, though, a lot of, there's a limit to what we can do on a computer. And yes, we can have videos and things like that, but it just may not be the learning style, which the one that's going to be missing is the ability to ask questions of the mentor or the teacher, in real time, and go, oh, hang on, I didn't understand what you meant. Can you just get that? Whereas other people will watch a video and totally understand it, or they may have had experience before that they can just bring to the table. The other thing that's really important, I think, for me, is as a leader, is to understand that this is it's a synergy. So what I mean by that is you're also growing as a leader, or that's your choice, to grow as leader as you're leading people, and to recognize that okay, maybe you need to step up your game in some areas to learn about this sort of thing, that people have different learning styles. Whereas for some people, it's very easy, and you intimated this before, it's very easy for some people to just go, oh, a leader just does this, just tells people what to do. And
No.
if you don't follow what I'm doing, I'll just cancel you out of the program or
Mhm.
ghost you or whatever.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, social media is a bit like that. It's easy that sort of people, not intentionally, perhaps they just find it an easy way to deal with people is just to say no and sorry, you're not matching. So it requires a lot of work as a leader, and it's great for growth. And it's good to recognize that it's
Absolutely.
actually good for us to go, okay, there's a whole lot of people in the world, they're all different. It'd be so good for me to be able to learn how to communicate properly and help people of all types, despite their backgrounds and the issues that we all bring with us, the truckload of Pandora's box of weird things that we have behind us. And just recognizing that alone, that people, as you said, people have challenges from the past that they bring to the table every time. And so to see through the outer behavior and to delve into, okay, what's really going on here? You don't have to ask that question. You have to ask the question of yourself. What's really going on behind that person that they're constantly having this challenge?
Absolutely. And look, this is the thing that I find really gets lost in this industry, is that it's all, I've seen a lot of this, and this is one of the main reasons why I felt it was important for us to start this podcast, is that there's so much focus on how much money you can make, and there's so much talk about people making money in a fast amount of time. And for me, that's really not, that's actually a really small part of it. And in fact, making sales quickly, yeah, you can actually make sales really quickly, but that's not something I would lead with. I mean, I know people, because then what happens? People get sucked into that dream, and then they sign up. They're left high and dry, and they're going, well, what the hell is going on? And they're watching everyone around them do really well, and they're going, but hang on a second, this is what I was promised, and I'm not experiencing that. So, and in truth, I don't want to be that kind of person in business.
Yeah.
I want to be the kind of person that actually sees the value in being able to run a business like this, where you can actually call your own shots in your life, and showing people the value of that and what that means. But what that involves is stepping up and helping people, supporting people through their roadblocks, and teaching them how to help themselves, providing resources, and just getting them through. Not by necessarily carrying them, but by carrying yourself through it and talking through experience, like sharing your challenges. One of the things that really struck me in a particular group that I was involved in was not actually being able to talk about what you're going through as you're going through it. And I actually think it's important to be able to go, you know what, these are my struggles, right? And I'm not going to lie, it's really hard, but actually in this moment, this is what I'm doing to overcome these struggles. So it's not about getting on there and complaining and saying, oh my God, I'm having a hard time, I can't cope. It's actually recognizing that that I can't cope, but right in this moment is the most important time to take action. So, and when you see a leader doing that and kind of leading the way, then the people that haven't got there yet can go, oh, okay, well, actually, that's really important to recognize that when someone's in that depth, that oh, I'm not alone, but actually I can take a step and do something to get myself out of it. And that will look different for everyone, and it's everyone's personal journey. And whilst it's not my job to fix somebody, as someone who has brought them into a business and asked them to part with a significant amount of money, I feel it is my duty of care to show that support to that person and offer them resources and opportunities for them to be able to help themselves. Does that
I love that idea of, you said duty of care, and I was just as before you said, I was thinking it's your responsibility. Well, I feel responsible, and I know you do too,
Mm.
to assist people to become what they truly want to become. Because deep down, they want to become something else. They want to become a different person, or as we say, unpeel the layers to find out who that true person is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're not really serving them in any way by not helping them do that.
That's
It's,
exactly right.
they can grow a business and they can make money, but really that's not what life is about, really. It's
Well, if you're just in it just to make sales and make money, then you're kind of missing the point,
yeah,
and this whole what I was sold on was the community and the support that
yeah,
is offered.
yeah,
And so if I'm sold on that and then I don't get it, then I'm sold a lie.
yes.
And I don't lie. I can't run my business that way, So, and it's a choice that I made from the very beginning. And look, I also see value in things not working out. Like things didn't particularly work out with my group, but I'm actually grateful that I had that experience,
Yeah.
because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about how I want to run things. And it also made me aware that there's value in everything. And just because you don't see eye to eye with someone or you don't get what you need out of a particular group, it doesn't mean that there's no value there. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that they're whatever. There's no judgment involved. It's actually really about what works for me, and making those decisions can be really tough, especially when you're first learning how to back yourself. And in this business, you got to be able to back yourself. You have to be able to really follow your instinct, because that's how you uncover who you really are. And that's how you lead others to do the same. And that is what actually builds this community to be really powerful. And that in turn leads to a change in consciousness, and it leads to a movement, which leads to massive social change. And so it's all these atomic habits. Oh my God, I keep coming back to that. It's
Yes,
it's
you
all
mentioned
about
that.
these. Yes, it's all about those small changes, and it all starts with you. It all starts from within. Yeah, I'm very passionate about this side of things. And my aim as a leader is to actually give people a framework and give people options. Like, there's I have great plans for my people. Yeah. Yeah. So exciting.
What
And
if
this is, I feel this way, right? And I have to point this out. I feel this way today. Um, and during the week, when I was in the depths of hell and the depths of despair, right, I never lost sight of that. And
Yeah.
I actually used that pain to really push that point forward. So it's exciting to get to the other side and see that there's progress made. Yeah. So I just had to point that out
So
because,
now the pain is a
ups and downs.
tool. Now the pain is a great tool for change, that you become so aware of that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
same with people trying to understand a course or something like that. The difficulties that are happening, it's great if you can bring the awareness to that. This is the thing, this is the very thing you need.
oh no.
This is the very thing you need to affect change in
That's
your life,
right.
and not just create wealth, but to create everything else about you and become the human that we know you all are. No good running away from it, as we
Absolutely.
started the conversation. It'll just come and keep hitting you on the
Absolutely.
head and not really getting through. And so that
Yeah.
awareness of
And look, and
like
I see that.
this is where the expression fail forward comes from. It's not, and we brought up on failure as this word from school, that you fail an exam, you fail this, you fail a test, you fail writing something. But there's never any mention that this is actually the way to learn. You have to fail forward, if you want to call it that. You can call it anything you
Mm.
like, but it's not achieving something or struggling with something is the way to learn forward. And so whether you embrace that
I
and
like
just
learning forward.
really bring it, say, please give me this stuff. At some point that can get too much, but it's like, okay, I've had enough now. I've got a bit of learning to do now. I don't need any more challenges, but
Mm.
it's like, yeah,
Mm.
look, okay, if I'm going to do that, there's going to be moments in my life where it's going to be really hell. going to be difficult. I'm not going to work out how to do this. I'm going to go and want to climb back in bed and pull the covers over my head. But what does that
Yeah.
achieve? Doesn't achieve anything.
Well, look,
Nothing
to
to
be
achieve.
fair, I think sometimes it's necessary to actually climb back in bed, because
Oh,
sometimes
absolutely. Absolutely.
things get to that point. But this is the importance of looking inward and really honing in on your gut instinct, right? Because your gut will always lead you to the right place. But figuring out what your gut is and what your head is
That is
can
the
be
question.
really, really tough. And it's a process to learn that,
Yeah.
right? And, rest, especially with someone who's really struggling with mental health, is really, really important. And it's something that I personally really struggle with, right? Because look, people think, lying in bed for the day is not really going to fix anything. And some days lying in bed can be the worst thing that you can do, right? Because you've got a freight train of thought going through your head, you can't settle anything. But the key to that is, unless you get that rest, your mind is going to keep churning. And there are techniques out there like breath work and, a bit of hypnosis, a bit of meditation that actually help calm the nervous system, right? They physically calm you down. And those things are vital, but not very many people either they don't know about it or they don't place value on it. And this is where, as a leader, with my own personal experiences and with my own experience at being coached, is where I can come in and go, well, actually, this is what's behind these techniques and this is how it can help you, because rest is vital. Rest is vital. If you get to the point where you can't think straight and your support isn't there, you need to sleep it off. It's as simple as that. And when you wake up from it, you feel a lot better. But I mean, look, it's hard. It's hard. It's really challenging. But there's always ways out.
Yeah.
And that's where a good leader comes in.
Yeah. And that's a learning experience for oneself too, is to learn when that's appropriate, when it's not appropriate, and to learn to breathe, as you said. Breathing is one of the best ways to calm your sympathetic system down, so that you drop out of the fight and flight mode back into the rest and relax mode, and where
Yeah.
you can start seeing things a little bit clearly and not become so overwhelmed.
Yeah. Look,
Rest is critical.
it
And
is. It really is. Rest, diet, and it's annoying. It's so, look, I find it like, don't get me wrong, I love the process of, hate the process of change because it's uncomfortable. But, really my go-to when I first started was like, oh, man, I don't want to freaking meditate. I don't want to breathe. I don't want to do that's, because I was used to having like wanting an instant solution. But the truth is, that is an instant
that's the
solution.
fast way there.
It is, especially the breath work. Actually, I would do the breath work over the meditation, because the breath work will help calm your nervous system down so you can meditate. And I do that, and I've actually recorded myself doing that. And these are some of the resources that I'm going to put out there as my team grows, so that they can see, well, look, actually, you are not alone. I might be up here leading, but I'm there. I still go there, and this is what I do. And to have the proof. So, it's gone for me are the days where leaders are actually up on a pedestal. I'm not up on anyone's pedestal. I'm just like everybody else. I'm just further along on that journey. And if I can help you, guide you through your own journey, through the steps that I've taken, then that's my job. That's what leadership is. It's not about being above. We're all human. No one's better than anybody else. We're all just at different stages of our journeys. So, and there'll be people that are ahead of my journey that can help me as well. And the trick is to be open, because help comes in really unexpected ways. It can
Well,
come from
leadership is mostly about leading from the front, isn't it? It's not an up and down system,
No,
really.
it's
It's more
not.
like,
That's right.
you
It's
know,
it's
I've
at the
been here
front,
before,
but
or I'm
leaders
going
are
through it.
elevated.
Yeah.
Leaders are elevated.
Yeah.
You know, even when they speak,
Yeah.
leaders are up on stages. They're above everybody
Yeah.
else.
Mm.
And look, I get the visual aspect of that, sure, but I would much rather be down the bottom and everybody else above looking down at me.
Mm.
You know, because I want to stay on the ground. I don't want to be elevated. I want my feet firmly planted on the ground where the earth is, you
Yeah.
know, where I can recharge and regenerate, you
Nice
know.
metaphor.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. So, you know,
You want a Roman amphitheater. You want to lead from a Roman amphitheater where
I actually think
they're up
that's
above you.
really important, but it's important because even on a scientific level with acoustics, you're heard better.
True.
You know,
That's
when
why
you're
they
down
haven't.
the bottom and you're projecting, your voice is bouncing all around those walls.
Yeah.
But when you're up high, yeah, it just doesn't work.
You need some electronics then.
You do.
Right. Lovely.
You
That is fantastic. So what have you been reading this week?
Oh, okay. What have I been reading? I haven't
Or
done as
listening?
much reading or as much listening as I normally have, but
Yep.
I'm on and I think I mentioned this last week. I'm still on Jen Sincero. I just find her books amazing. I love the way that she speaks. And I'm also studying, I haven't started it, but I will be starting this week a book on the courage to be disliked.
Oh, I haven't heard that. Who's that by? Do you remember?
It's learning how to step out of your comfort zone and be okay with people not liking you or not agreeing with you. And I think that's really important. And that's
Oh, I've
something.
got a very appropriate quote for you then this week,
Okay.
which I'll tell you in a minute. But you keep going. So who's that by, that book? Learning to be Disliked?
Yeah, I can't remember
That's
because
okay.
as
Let's put that in the
usual, my disorganized self didn't take notes because I talk on the
Learning
fly.
to be Disliked. I love it. What a great title. That reminds me of a book I've got, which I can't remember the title of either, but it's in my ebook thing. Anyway, we'll put a link to that too. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just looking for my phone. Oh, here it is. Let me look it up. I can actually tell you right now. I'll just bring up my Audible. They are going to sponsor us at some point. I know this.
Yeah.
The courage to be disliked. Hang
The
on.
courage to be disliked. Sorry.
Yeah, and also I just started listening to How to Train Your Mind by Chris Bailey.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Have a look here. Where are we? Bear with me one moment. Hang on. I thought I had it in my wish list. Yeah, The
You
Courage
listed
to
it?
Be
Oh, it is. Oh,
Disliked
sorry.
by Fumitake Koga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will check that out.
Yeah, and it's narrated by Adrian Mulroney.
Oh, this is on
Oh, it's in
Audible.
my library. It's in my library. I think it might even be a freebie.
Okay. All right. I'll get onto that one.
Yes, it's really, oh, look, there's so much value in Audible. And look, when I'm in those dark moments, I go back to the old faithful, Bob Proctor and Jen Sincero and
Yeah.
Atomic Habits, and they are staples
Yeah.
in my listening catalog,
Yeah.
because it reminds me to strip it back and to remember to keep things in perspective, you know, and always lead from the heart. Because I often doubt my ability to lead from the heart, but actually I keep coming back to that reaffirmation through these books and through other people that have been through that same journey. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my books.
You're living the truth, what we talk about.
Well, you know, this whole thing is about embodying, you know, your truth and your path, and it's a real process. It's a real process. So, you know, whatever helps on that process is what I do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm still reading Focal Point from Brian
Great.
Tracy. So you say go back to the oldies. I've gone back to this oldie.
Mhm.
I'll just read one quick note that I got from it, which is very relevant today. Within every problem or difficulty you experience, there is the seed of an equal or greater advantage of benefit. So look for the good
Absolutely.
in every problem. There's a valuable lesson in every adversity or setback. Look for something you can gain from every difficulty, and you'll always find it. So
I
that just
love
happens to be
that.
one of the next 4 I was going to read, but I won't read them all. I'm just going to stop on that one. And the quote I have for you from
Mm-hmm.
our beloved Rumi, because I had to bring in a
Love
poetry quote,
Rumi. Oh, I
and
love
it just
Rumi.
happened to be relevant. And you're going to laugh at the first bit. I'm not a cow or thistles for camels to graze upon. People who insult me are only polishing the mirror.
That's right. I love that. That's so
I thought that
true.
was just, I saw that this morning. I thought, I got to bring that in. And actually, it's amazing because we've kind of talked about challenges. And
Mm,
yes, on social media, we get people who just make silly comments, but it
mm.
really just strengthens us. And as he says, polishes the mirror so we can see our true inner light.
Absolutely. And you know what? It polishes their own mirror, the perpetrator, because they're only really a reflection of themselves. They're
Which is,
reflecting themselves.
yeah, yeah. It
So
says more
it
about
works on
them.
2 levels. I love it.
That's right. Lovely.
Rumi. I love Rumi. There's always room for Rumi in my life.
Room for Rumi. Right.
And
All right. Do we
that's
have
a
a
good
clue what
way
we're
to
doing
leave
next
it.
week or?
What are we doing next week? Oh, I'm not too sure. What do you
Okay.
reckon?
I love the surprise element. It's folks, all those who are listening and watching this is entirely planned and non-planned.
Well, look, we work really well when we live in the moment.
We do. We
You know,
riff off each other, but also it's really good to be able to do timely stuff. So sometimes all
absolutely,
the
yeah.
planning means nothing because it's right. Yeah, okay, this week I think we should talk about this, and so off we go.
What was that quote with when you make plans, God laughs or something
Yes,
like that?
that's right. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to make God laugh, show
Show
him
him your plans.
plans. Mm.
Show them.
That's
So
it.
them, they,
All right.
whatever
As
you
always,
call it.
thanks for listening and watching, and love us and like us on all our wherever we are, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts for sure, and all the others. And we'll
Yes, and
be back
share
next week.
us. Share
Thank
the
you.
love
Share the
and
love,
leave
and thank you so much,
comments on
Ida,
our
for. And
Facebook
I'll
page.
stop talking.
Sorry.
Ida's singing. No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a habit of talking over you, Tim. I'm so sorry. I listen back to our podcast, to our episodes, and I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, share the love, leave messages on our Facebook page, and we will definitely respond. And thank you all so much for listening. We are so incredibly grateful, and we love doing this week after week. So we'll see you next week, or we'll hear you next week. Actually, we won't hear you, you'll hear us. So until that time, have an awesome week. And if not, I hope you find solutions to whatever challenges arise.
Great. Thank you, and see you soon. All of you listening and watching, and you too, Ida.
Cheers,
See ya.
Tim. Bye.
Bye.